7th grade. Today is Tuesday, May the 4th. Today we're going to be working in section 11.3, which is isolating the variable in 2 steps. So we're going to be on page 449, and we're going to be working through 451. So if you'll have your books open with me at the same time, that would be great. Right, so the first thing we're going to talk about is solving equations. Of course, this involves 2-step equations. And if you look with me on page 449, there are steps to follow, and I actually included those steps here. Okay? So your first step is to simplify each side of the equation equally, meaning that you will have to do some simplifying on the left side as well as the right side. Okay? Remember, we also isolate our variable on the left side. All right, step 2 is to isolate the variable, which could be X, Y, Z, any letter of the alphabet, by using your properties, such as your addition property and your multiplication property. And step 3, you're simply going to check the solution. All right, so let's do some of these together. All right, so the first thing I'm going to start with is y over 7 plus 3 equals 4 plus 1. Now, what I mean by simplifying is I'm going to simplify this side if I can, and I'm going to simplify this side if I can. Now, by looking at this, I can simplify this side for sure. Okay? So, I'm going to go ahead and rewrite my problem because I like to keep my steps in order. And what is 4 plus 1? Correct, it is 5. Now, there's nothing I can simplify on this side at this time, but I am ready to use my inverse operation to move the positive 3 to the other side by subtracting it. What you do to one side, you must always do to the other. Okay? So, opposite of addition is subtraction. So, minus 3, minus 3. Now, 3 minus 3 equals 0, so that cancels out. So I'm going to go ahead and bring down y over 7 equals 5 minus 3 is a positive 2. Now, I have what we call a fraction here, which is also a division. What's the opposite of division? Multiplication. So, we're going to use this 7 and we're going to remove it by its inverse operation, which would be through multiplication. And when you do this, this cancels and you're left with a y equals 2 times 7. So look closely. I multiplied this side by 2 as well as I'm multiplying this side by 2. So y equals 14. Now, I'm going to show you how to check your answer. You already know that, but we're going to do that again. So we know that y is 14. So I'm going to take this equation, and I'm going to put y, which is 14 over 7 plus 3 equals 4 plus 1. 17 divided by 4 is 2. So 2 plus 3 equals 4 plus 1, and they both equal 5, and that checks correct. Okay, so now let's move on to B. Now, I want to look at this side of the equation. Oops. It goes all the way over to the 9. And then this side of the equation. And I look to see if there's things that I can simplify, meaning things that I can add or subtract or multiply together. And I do see that I can combine 3x plus 2x. Remember, you always use the sign in front of it. The sign in front of 3x is positive. The sign in front of 2x is positive. I'm going to add those, and I'm going to get 5x minus 9 equals 6. Now, I'm going to take my, my 5 over through the inverse operation, which is opposite of subtraction is addition. So I'm going to add 9 to both sides. When I do so, this is going to cancel. Bring down my 5x equals 6 plus a positive 9 is 15. Now, I'm left with 5x equals 15. Remember, this is 5 times x. So what's the opposite of multiplication? Of course, that is division. So I'm going to divide both sides by 5. That cancels. 15 divided by 5 equals 3. Now, if I bring it back up here this time and I'm going to check my answers, I'm going to multiply 3 times 3, 2 times 3, okay? Which 3 times 3 is 9, plus 2 times 3 is 6, minus 9 equals 6. All right, so 9 plus 6 is 15 minus 9, and that also equals 6. So 6 equals 6, and that checks out. Now, let's work on another one. My dog is having a fit because he can't get up in the chair with me because I've got books up here. He's a little spoiled, guys. All right, so the next one here, we are going to, first thing we're going to do is we're going to start here. Because there's nothing that we can simplify. So we're ready to start moving things from side to side in order to isolate our variable. What's that opposite of minus 7? Correct, plus 7. Boy, I sure do miss having you guys in class. I look forward to you guys coming back on Monday. So 4x equals 17 plus 7 equals what? 24. Now, my inverse operation here of multiplication, when you learn to identify 4x, oh, I'm going to divide. Or if you have 4 over x, then you're going to multiply. Those identify the, help you to identify the inverse operation. So that cancels. X equals 24 divided by 4 is 6. And that is your answer. All right, guys, let's look at D. I want you to pause the video for just a moment, and I really want you to try to solve this on your own. And then I'm going to go back and work it. So pause the video, try to do the best you can, and then come back and I will work this problem for you, and I want you to check your answer. All right, so I've assumed you have worked the video, you have worked your problem, and now we are going to combine our like terms. And actually, we have something on both sides that we can combine, because 9x minus 2x. Notice that our variable is the same, meaning it's the same letter and it has the same exponents. So we can combine those. And here we're going to be combining those through subtraction. So 9x minus 2x is 7x equals, here we have multiplication, because 7 times 9 can be written like this. 7 times 9, 7 times 9, 7 times 9. It can be written in those ways, okay? But they all mean the same, and you're going to do the exact same thing. So 7 and 9 are both positive, so my answer is going to be positive. So 7 times 9 is 63. All right? Now, I also have a multiplication problem here, so I'm going to divide both sides by 7. Check your steps with me as we go through this. 63 divided by 7 is 9. And that is your answer. I hope you guys did well. Let's do the same way. I want you to look at this, and then I want you to solve it yourself. And then I'm going and pause the video, and then I'm going to, when you come back, I'm going to work that with you. All right. So again, we always want to combine any like terms that we have here, or simplify. There's nothing I can simplify on this side. No. But there is on this side. So I'm going to go ahead and rewrite my problem on this side, because I like my steps saying nice, neat. So 7 squared is the same thing as multiplying 7 times 7, which is 49. Now, I'm ready to move things from the left to the right through its inverse operation. I'm going to start with my 13. And what is the opposite of plus 13 is minus 13? Cancel. Negative 9t equals, what is 49 minus 13? Why am I subtracting? Well, notice that I have a positive here and a negative here. So when you are adding a positive and a negative, you subtract and keep the sign of the larger number. All right, so 9t equals 49 minus 13, which equals 36. Now I'm going to take my negative 9 over through its inverse operation, which the inverse would be division. Okay, so negative, divide both sides by negative 9. This cancels. Remember, when you're multiplying a negative times a negative, it cancels. And so 36 divided by negative 9 would be a negative 4.
I'm going inside.
Okay, baby. So I hope you guys got that well. Let's move on to F. I want you to do the same thing. This is the way you practice with me in the classroom. We're going to stay with this, okay? So how can we, well, first of all, pause the video. Now I'm ready to solve this problem for you. I want you to check your answers. What can I simplify here? All right, well, I definitely can simplify here. There's nothing on this left side that I can simplify. So I'm going to go ahead and write my problem. This is G over 5 plus 14 equals negative 10 plus a positive 4. Notice we have a negative, and of course you have an invisible positive. So when you're adding a negative and a positive, you're actually going to subtract and keep the sign of the larger number. So your answer would be a negative 6. Okay? So now we're going to subtract, where we're going to use our inverse operation of addition, which is subtraction. So I'm going to subtract 14 from both sides. This cancels, of course. I'm going to go ahead and write my G over 5 equals. Now, here I'm going to be adding a negative plus a negative. So when you're adding two negatives, remember you add and keep the sign. So my answer would be a negative 20. Okay, so moving on here, notice that this is division. A fraction equals division. What's the opposite of division? Multiplication. So you're going to multiply both sides by 5, and when you do so, it's going to cancel out on this side. So you're going to have G equals negative 20 times 5, which equals, G is going to equal a negative 100. Why is it a negative? Because you have a negative here and a positive here. When you're multiplying a negative and a positive, your answer is negative. Okay? Good job. Move on to, we got two more here that we're going to do before I release you for your assignment. So, let's look at this together. G. Now, G here, let's look at this together. So, n over 7 plus 3 equals negative 11. So I want you to pause the video and then come back, and I'm going to work it. And I want you to check your answers. Make sure to write each step so you can see where you messed up, okay? All right, so here we go. So here we have nothing that we can combine or simplify on this side and nothing on this side. So I'm going to use my inverse operation to isolate my variable. The opposite of a positive 3 would be minus 3. That cancels, so I'm going to rewrite my problem. N over 7 equals negative 11 plus a negative 3. You add and keep your sign, which is a negative 14. Opposite of division is what? All right, so I am going to multiply both sides by 7, which is N equals negative 14 times 7. When you do that, N equals a negative 98. Check my answer there. Yep, that's your answer. Let's move on to the next one. This one is a little more complicated. Got a little more simplifying than the others did. But I wanted to put this on here just to see how well you could do, okay? All right, so go ahead and pause your video. Try your best to do all of this one that you can. And then come back with me and I'll solve it for you. All right, so I'm ready to solve this. I'm ready to do some simplification here. And we're going to start here. We can simplify this and then simplify that. We can simplify this section. Let's just start and move from left to right on what we can. All right, so a negative 3 plus 21t Okay, so negative t plus 21t, you're going to subtract, and I think your answer is going to be negative 18. I'm sorry, back that out. It's going to be positive 18t. Why is it positive? Because when you're adding a negative and a positive, you subtract and take the sign of the larger number. The larger number is 21 and it's positive. So I'm going to go ahead and put my 1 here, equals 7 squared is the same thing as saying 7 times 7, which is 49, minus 12. So now I can simplify this side. All right, so 18t plus 1 equals 49 minus 12, and that equals 37. Okay, now I'm going to subtract 1 from both sides, and when I do so, I'm going to have 8t equals 36. Then I'm going to divide both sides by 18, and so t is going to equal 2. 36 divided by 18 is 2, and that is your answer. All right, guys, so your assignment is going to be to do page 451, and you're going to do 1 through 12 all. Make sure you turn that on LMS when you have any questions. Thank you, guys. Have a great day.